Us, do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Welcome into the locker room, the most sacred of spaces in sports. Talking you through the behind-the-scenes conversations that happen behind closed doors. With former Nebraska football tight end Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor Brewington, the 6-year senior tight end, finding his way into the end zone.
And former South Dakota State running back and Nebraska football assistant Mikey Daniel.
Hand off to Daniel inside the 2 to the 1, and he powers his way into the end zone for a South Dakota State touchdown.
This is The Locker Room, brought to you by Ep Foundation Repair. Here are your hosts, Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
Yes, welcome back into the Locker Room. Another week of the Locker Room, one of the hottest news shows in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm Jake Bachman here alongside Chancellor Brewington, who will lead us throughout the remainder of the show. Nebraska did get a win this week, but did they get better? That's the question. Chancellor, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, the question is, did they get better? And I'm Chancellor Brewington, former Nebraska football tight end. Usually on the show joining me is Mikey Daniels. He is not here today, but he will be here tomorrow. And we usually started off with some type of quote card or some type of encouragement. And I would just say, as my encouragement today, just live your best life, and you get to create your life. You have the power to do so. And I challenge you to start to create the life that you want in your mind first, and see it manifest in the physical realm. Okay, so I want to touch on this game because Monday we like to go through it like a player. So as a player, first couple of days after a game, you're gonna go through the film, right? You're gonna go through the film, and if you guys like to go through film and watch film, I have a YouTube channel at Chancellor Brewington Official, break down the film there. But I like to go through the film and just see, okay, where do we leave? Where do we get better at? And I think the question for me was, like Bach said, did Nebraska get better from Illinois to Purdue? And as a football team, and as a offense, as a defense, and as a collective group, special teams as well, especially from a coaching staff, you want to look at the team and say, okay, did we get better? Did we get better? And it's hard for me to answer this one. It really is. I think we showed a few things. I think the question marks after the Illinois games was the kicking game. That was fresh on everyone's mind. Of course, the field goal to possibly win it. That was what was fresh, right? And then I think the other question mark was the defense. Is the defense kind of went in a, lackadaisical UNI week, and then it carried over to Illinois week. So that was kind of a question mark. Okay, are we a top 10 defense, top 15 defense, as we say we are? That was the big question mark. And then I think the third one was, can this team finish in the fourth quarter? That was my takeaway from the Illinois game. And one more, actually, overcome close games and the penalties, because there are some late game penalties, specifically talking about the MJ Sherman one. There's some late game stuff in the Illinois game. The missed call on Jamari with the face mask, we got away with that one, but there was a lot of uncharacteristic things from this coach rule, culture of just being disciplined, right? So to answer these questions, looking at the Purdue game, do I think we improved in the kicking game? No, I think we got worse. I think we got worse, but there's more context. Of course, you got a younger guy, new guy. Don't have Alvano in there, but Alvano was still struggling before. Don't really know moving forward what you're going to do. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Defensively, I think we improved. I believe that this defense in the first half, it was interesting. So I was watching the game at at some restaurant. It was some restaurant, and I was solo dolo by myself, incognito in the corner, just wanted to watch the game, right? And so I'm hearing people inside the restaurant, they're saying certain things, right? They're saying, oh, this defense, I can't stand this defense, right? And it was a bunch of, to be honest with you, it was a bunch of ignorant people, right? They didn't know, a lick about football, just didn't know anything, couldn't explain what a curl route was, right? And so you're listening to all these people, and I'm looking at the defense, and I'm like, I mean, this was before halftime. I'm like, they're playing. Purdue hasn't scored yet. Like, what are we talking about? They had one field goal attempt. They got inside the red zone about one time, right? So I'm hearing them, and it's not matching whatever. And I'm seeing on Twitter like the defense didn't come out to play and all this stuff. I'm like, I thought they played decent. I thought there was times, right? You get in third and short, second and short, where you wrap a guy up and he falls forward, or someone is in the backfield can make a play and they don't. Okay, I get that. But from a perspective of looking at UNI week and then the carryover, specifically looking at Illinois week, did we get better from Illinois week on the defensive end? Yes, we did. And that was just specifically the first half. And then you talk about the second half coming out and dominating Purdue. I thought it was great. I thought it was great by the defense for the most part. And of course, this isn't Purdue by no means is a good football team in the Big Ten. They're going to be me and Harrison on What's Brewing weeknight show. We broke down the Big Ten, and I put Purdue in the very bad list. I think they're going to be the bottom tier, the bottom feeders of the Big Ten. That's why I think they're going to be. And so the next thing is, can this team finish in the fourth quarter? We did finish in the fourth quarter, and I think that's what I'm so excited about is, okay, this team, had some adversity, some obstacles in the first half. Just things weren't clicking on the offensive end. I mean, they were clicking. It was just we couldn't convert on third down. We were 0 for 8 on third down in the first half. You can't win football games like that. You can't even go down and drive and score. And I have interesting takes, and I'll get to it in a second. And the last two question marks were overcoming close games. And obviously, we didn't really get an opportunity to see a close game late. But we did. It was 0-0, so we did end up kind of expanding that gap. And then we have penalties, and I thought we were terrible on the penalties. I think we went like 9 for almost 100 yards or 9 for 81. Definitely have to clean that up. A lot of them, I mean, you talk about some of them, the offensive PI call, right? Whether they called it on Fedoni, whether they called it on Jamal Banks trying to get off press man-to-man, doesn't make any sense, right? Whoever they called it on, it was a bad call, right? Can't do anything about that one, but you can do stuff about some of the block in the back ones, some of the holding calls, some of the false starts, some of the I believe we had a rough in the pass or something like that. Being able to be disciplined in those type of situations, because those situations are going to show up every game. So you want to be consistent on how you're approaching the game, and obviously it starts in practice and all that good stuff. Like I said, I think the defense played well enough to win in the first half. Purdue prided themselves on running the football. Looking at how much we gave up, Nebraska's defense gave up 50 yards rushing, right? And some of it's a little skewed because you sack Hudson Card about 3, I would say like 5 times, right? So some of the negative yards in the rushing category under Card aren't exactly what they say they are. Maccabee, their guy, right? 13 for 41. And then looking at the offense, I have a couple question marks, Bach. I have a couple question marks. I think one of them is the fact that we're throwing the ball, and this is the first half specifically. We're throwing the ball on first down, throwing the ball on second down, and throwing the ball on third down, right? And so I think the best this offense has been is Colorado week, first half. And so when we look at that, I think they were so explosive that first half is because everything was funneled through the run, right? So you start with the run, it opens up the pass. You start with the run, go play action. You start with the run, you do this, right? I think that's where this offense is best. And so sometimes when you get a little pass heavy, first it puts stress on the O-line, right? Because if they got to protect on first down and then protect on second down and then protect on a third down, which is obvious pass, right? You're kind of in a limbo situation. Was that because, you got some new pieces on the O-line? I'm not really sure. And it's tough because you want to talk about, I want to talk about how Emmett Johnson comes in the second half and just absolutely tears it up. And I don't want people to overshadow it because, he had nearly, I say he was near 100 yards all purpose, in the receiving game and in the rushing game. When you look at a guy like Dante's a guy that we've talked about it. Dante's a guy that needs a lot of carries, right? Because of this physicality. And I think he breaks down the defense a lot. But it gets to a point where, do you want to be physical or you want to be effective? And I think that's the question mark with this offense is sometimes, especially in the running back room, we're trying to create an identity being physical downhill, but I think Emmett is a guy that, can get to the second level and make guys miss. And, he's going to make the first man miss, second man miss. He's going to be, 3 guys need to tackle him, take him down. I think there's a time and a place for Dante and there's a time and a place for Emmett. And I think what we're seeing, and Emmett is running with a chip on his shoulder. That's what he's doing. He's running with a chip on his shoulder. He's saying, hey, y'all not gonna play me Illinois week. Y'all not gonna. They played him, right, but they didn't give him no rushing attempts. Y'all not gonna give me no rushing attempts. I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I'm made of, exactly the skill set that I have, the gifts that I have, and I'm gonna make guys miss. And I'm gonna run hard, run physical, and I'm gonna fall forward on these runs, right? You look at Emmett Johnson, and you look at the rushing game. I'll hit on this real quick. Hit on the rushing game just schematically. It seems like so you have your box, right? You have your inside the tackles, right? And it seems like a lot of the runs in the first half were outside the tackles, right? You had a lot of, pitches and stuff like that, which I don't like these pitches. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really like these pitches. I would like just the pieces we have, man. I love the fullback set. I love the fullback set where you get I forget what our fullback is, number 34.
Leaving Trick, yeah.
Yeah. What's his name?
Leaving Trick.
Yeah. Okay. So you get him and you run, your little power kick and he kicks out the end. You got a Justin Evans pull into the right side. I like that, right? It's pretty predictable. Everyone in the world knows you're running it. That's what they scored with Dante with, right? Well, you get in that same formation, or you get in, some type of power right or power I, whatever it is, and run this toss. Well, everyone in the world knows, you're running it to the right. So I think there's situations where you can just get in. You got Ja'Cory Barney, run him in motion and run the ball the other way, right? It gets pretty simple, but it seems like we're trying to make things too cute in the running game, which I think the simpler and you look at Michigan. I think what makes Michigan so effective for the past 3 years, not so much, this year as well, specifically talking run game, because we'll talk about Michigan in a second. But what they do on the offensive end in the rushing game, everything is very, very simple. They run inside zone, they run counter, they run power, everything duo. They run very, very simple things, and they're so good at it. And they can say to the other team, hey, we're going to run it right here. And I think with Nebraska, we're still trying to find the identity of the run game. Okay, are we a downhill team? Are we going to, attack the ends? Are we a stretch team? I don't know exactly what it is. And it usually it declares itself by like week 5. Like, okay, this is what this team is. Now I'm struggling to see it. I don't really know because it seemed like Colorado week we're running downhill. Seems like, Illinois week we're running downhill. We're trying to at least, right? And then this week, it's like we don't do it. I don't know if it's, they saw whether it's a front on a defense, whether they saw, these wide ends, they didn't think they could attack him. I don't know exactly what it was, Bach, but we have to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point. Very interesting to see kind of what they look like in the run game moving forward. All right, let's take a quick break. We got plenty more in the locker room coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are
you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or a trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
The Nebraska Dental Foundation is holding a free Veterans Mission of Mercy Dental Clinic November 15th and 16th in Utah, Nebraska. Dental services are available at no cost for veterans and their spouses. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/dental clinic to learn more and register for free dental services. Appointments are limited and filling fast, so hurry to veterans.nebraska.gov/dental clinic to register for this free event. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Jay Foreman. Join me, Old School, live from Cornhusker Bank at 83rd and O Street this Friday for their customer appreciation tailgate party from 4 to 6 p.m. Larry the Cable Guy will join us during the show, and there's free food and refreshments. That is this Friday from 4 to 6 at Cornhusker Bank, 83rd and O Street.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Chancellor's got it rolling today with an excellent conversation about Nebraska's running game, where we left off. Where do we go from here? Well, let's send it to him and find out.
Yes, sir. I'm Chancellor Brewington, former Nebraska football tight end. You're listening to The Locker Room. Usually joined with me is Mikey Daniels, but he's not here today. He'll be here tomorrow. And on the last segment, we were just talking about, did Nebraska get better from Illinois to Purdue? And I want to talk a little bit more about this Nebraska-Purdue game and some of the young guys, Ja'Cory Barney in particular. I'm such a fan of this kid. And I might say something that, might ruffle some feathers, but it reminds me, he's only a freshman. It reminds me of how they used Percy Harvin back at Florida when he was younger, right? I'm not saying, Percy Harvin was one of the most explosive players to ever play in college football, right? So I'm not saying, I'm not saying he's Percy Harvin. But what I am saying is he's the most explosive player on Nebraska's football team. That's for dang sure. So I think we're seeing his role expand. So Oregon State, and Coach will talk about it in the press, Oregon State ran a lot of these jet sweep fly motions, and that's kind of, as the years have evolved, have evolved in college football, these fly motions and these jet sweeps, these reverses are kind of becoming like the new norm. There, you're seeing it in the NFL, especially in the college level. It's interesting. You kind of have, because the hashes are different from college to NFL. You can do a little bit different things in the NFL, but using the short side of the field to your advantage. We saw that with Ja'Cory Barner, Alex Bullock go block the safety in motion. Shout out to him. But Ja'Cory, his role is expanding, and I think why we didn't see more of him early on is he's a true freshman. So what happens is, as your knowledge of the offense, right? Because every system is different. But once your knowledge of the offense expands, then you can be trusted by the coaches to actually go on the field, right? And then obviously going on the field, there's another level to that, is actually executing on the field, right? So some people get trusted, going and playing as a true freshman, but they don't execute. And we're seeing Ja'Cory, every time he gets the ball in his hands, he's executing, he's making guys miss. We're seeing his speed, we're seeing his acceleration, we're seeing him able to bend these corners and get vertical. We even saw a third down catch against Illinois, which I was so happy to see that, because it shows me that they see more of him than just the jet sweeps and all this stuff, which I think he's a guy where you can continue to do that and defenses will just have to account for him, right? And so it just adds another element of the opposing defense's preparation. Because think about it, you see all of a sudden, you see Ja'Cory on film, you're like, dang, we got to deal with this dude. So now we got to practice all these jet sweeps, these reverses, all these different things, right? And then they run it with Nair too, right? So now you got to account for those two. And then the next guy I want to talk about is Carter Nelson. We saw him early in the game, and he's a guy where I understand why he's on the field, and I think we need to see more of him. And I might say something that might ruffle some feathers, but everything Heinrich, I'm gonna say it, Bach. Everything they want Heinrich to do, right? Carter Nelson can do it at a higher level, right? They run the fade. You run a fade with Heinrich first drive of the game from the backfield. Well, Carter Nelson can do that, right? And I know it adds a confusion element with Heinrich because he can be in there, and it could be a double pass, all these different things, right? But I think you have to just use your playmakers. And we'll talk about it. I was watching the Penn State game. They played Illinois, and they had this number 44 guy. He played tight end. He played H-back. He played wildcat quarterback. And so when I look at Carter Nelson, I think he could be a wildcat quarterback. I think he could be a running back. I think he could be a tight end. I think he could be a receiver. I'm not saying, he can get real running back reps. I think you put him in specifically for jumping the pile, for, these different things where he's running an angle route or a Texas route on a linebacker, one man to man, right? You put him in at tight end, all these, you run this like kind of arrow action where you throw it down to Fedoni in the flat, right? Well, Card Nelson can do that. Even the screens and even the reverses in the jet sweeps that Jacory's getting, Card Nelson can do the same thing. He's a real 4-4 guy, explosive athlete. So moving forward, I would love to see him and his role expanded. And it's the same thing. How much can his mind handle? How much knowledge does he have about the game? How much knowledge does he have about formations? Because guess what? It's like a thing where I see this. Jacory, let's use Jacory as an example. He gets a jet sweep, right? Let's say he gets a 20-yard gain. And they want to go hurry up into inside zone, right? Or just basic inside zone. Well, Jacory is the slot receiver, right? So does Jacory know that off of a hurry up, off of a fast tempo inside zone, that he always has a bubble route or he always has some type of RPO backside, right? Or if the formation is flipped into the boundary, they're blocking for the number one receiver, right? So there's these different wrinkles, and everyone has to be, in harmony, and everyone has to be, connected, to the same source of information, right? So if you get outside and all of a sudden, Jacory doesn't run the right route, then Dylan tries to throw it out there, right? So I think being able to have Jacory on the field for just whatever play, right? And another person we saw kind of, I would say it's interesting. I think Jalen Lloyd can add more things to his offense. It's just awesome to see, I'm talking about like Jacory, I'm talking about Jalen Lloyd, but we didn't talk about Banks and Nair yet, right? We haven't talked about Fedoni, him in the pass game, catching the football, Alex Bullock doing a fantastic job executing when his number's called. And it's not always a thing where he's, catching 10 balls a game or 3 balls a game or even 1 ball a game. A lot of times it's, how he's blocking effectively. He's getting the receivers lined up, being kind of a veteran in that room. But when you specifically talk about this receiver room, you got to talk about Isaiah Nair and Jamal Banks. When you see the defense, when you're playing a team and DBs are, holding, grabbing, a bunch of PI calls, right? When you see that, it brings me to one point. And the one point is the offensive, our receivers are separating. What I mean is they're literally separating from the defensive back, and it's causing the defensive back to play, undisciplined and uncharacteristic by grabbing, by holding, by, jumping and making contact before they go up for the ball and all these different type of things. And I think that goes to, first of all, shout out to whoever found these boys in the portal, because these are some gazelles, right? 6'4", both I think about 6'4", above 220 pounds, guys that can really stretch the field, but also can make plays. We saw Banks last week against Illinois. Great strong hands. We saw Banks again. I believe he had a touchdown, the back line. He ran the back line on, it was like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. Dylan Raiola found him. But like, there's just little things that these two guys are doing, and it's opening up the Jacorys, right? Because if you don't have to account for outside receivers and all you're keying in on is, when Jacory's in the game and when Lloyd's in the game and, the little things like that, then it makes it super simple for a defense coordinator to be like, okay, we just got to take away, contain the edges and get these jet sweeps and stuff like that. Next, the part that we have to talk about, I don't want to talk about it because I don't like folks on the negative, but Bach, we got to talk about it. You go 0 for 3 in field goals first half, 2 of them blocked. I would say 1 you can blame on the long snapper, 1 low kick by the kicker, bad by the holder, but at the end of the day, 0 for 3, right? So in my mind, I'm saying specifically from an offensive player and from an offensive perspective, I think this now adds a certain type of juice and adds a certain type of you kind of wear a badge now as an offense saying, okay, we can't let it get to the kicker. Like, we just can't. If you're dealing with you should be telling your guys, it's a score or a bust. That's how you going into every drive, score or bust. If we don't score, it's a bust, right? we love our teammates, right? We love them, pat, but you're not getting it done, right? So guess who has to take it into their own hands? Us, right? So as an offense, I think we have to continually look at these games and these drives. We go 0 for 8, third down. And some of it, in my eyes, I would say 70% is on coaching, right? And I would say 30 falls on the guys. Maybe just not executing penalties, little stuff like that. Sacks sacks on second down, causing a long third down, right? Little things like that. But for the most part, I'm saying as an offense, man, we got to score every time. And I think if you have that type of edge, you have that type of perspective, you go into each drive and you're like, yeah, like, and it creates not only a play call, but like a mentality with the offense. And I think you go into each drive like, yeah, we have to score. And I think with that expectation follows the same results of the expectation. So I like it. And we got to talk about the emergence. Oh, what did the defense show us, right? What did this defense show us in this week? The areas, the question marks, we wanted to get off the field on third down. We went 8 for 15. And some of those were the last drive of the game for Purdue. I think they went like, you had your twos in. So I believe, at least there was at least 5 or 6 third downs, right? Take those away or sitting around, 7 for 8, 6 for 8 on third down. So you're doing a decent job, right? Doing a decent job on third down. And the tough part is you got this Rutgers team coming in here next week, and they are, I wouldn't say they're a high-powered offense, but they're effective running the ball. They're super effective running the ball. This running back, he's not the fastest, but there's something about, he reminds me of like a less explosive Genty, the guy out of Boise State. He just has like this different like pinball thing, like where, guys like just bounce off of him, or he bounces off of guys, whatever you want to call it. And he's able to, as a low center, mass, like he's a shorter guy. You're gonna have to find a way to bring him down. But I think this defense showed, okay, Purdue wanted to run the ball, they stopped that. Hey, I think that gives you a surge of confidence going into Rutgers week. And we'll talk about, I'm going to break down these Big Ten games on the next segment. And we'll get into, what I saw in the Big Ten this week.
All right, we'll do that next in the locker room here on 93.7 The Ticket. Don't go anywhere.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Experience a cleaner tomorrow with Niederhaus Refuse. Whether it's weekly residential pickups, large-scale commercial disposals, recycling, or roll-off, Niederhaus's team is here with reliable, efficient service and the most advanced solutions. Discover the difference that a committed and experienced waste management company can make. Niederhaus Refuse has been in business for over 100 years and is family-owned and operated since 1921. Call Niederhaus Refuse at 402-475-8361 and visit their website at nbrefuselincoln.com to learn more or sign up for your service today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
The Nebraska Dental Foundation is holding a free Veterans Mission of Mercy Dental Clinic November 15th and 16th in Uton, Nebraska. Dental services are available at no cost for veterans and their spouses. Visit veterans.nebraska.gov/dental clinic to learn more and register for free dental services. Appointments are limited and filling fast, so hurry to veterans.nebraska.gov/dental clinic to register for this free event. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Fall is here, which means it's time to dive into a new lineup of autumn flavors at Wings and Rings, your home away from home during football season. Their all-star lineup of wing sauces is adding 2 new impact players, curry garlic and pumpkin chili. Need something delicious before kickoff? How about starting your meal with their brand new chorizo nachos and loaded fries? You better act fast. These new tastes of autumn won't be here long. So make the trip to one of their 2 Lincoln locations today on O Street or Village Lane.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by F Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are still celebrating a Nebraska win. You can still break it down a little bit, but also time to look around the Big Ten, see what else was done around the league. Let's throw it to Chancellor for the final segment here on The Locker Room on a Monday.
Yes, sir. I'm Chancellor Brewington, former Nebraska tight end. You're listening to The Locker Room, and we were just talking about Nebraska, Purdue, what went good, what went bad, the good, the bad, the ugly. Did they get better? And my overall thoughts, I'll give my last ones. I think we got better. I think the fourth quarter win, the explosion in the fourth quarter, 21 points, all that good stuff. I think that was a big moment for this team, because if we would have went and just scored, if it was a 10-13, 10-14 ball game, and we come back home, I don't think we come back home confident from that game. I don't think we come back home with any type of momentum. I think we're questioning ourselves more. So you get a 28-10 win. Now you're kind of feeling good. Everyone can smile now. Everyone, Rule's talking about everyone after the Illinois game was all tight and all these different things, holding your head down when you go in the facility. Now as a player, you can go in the facility like, hey, we could have won by at least 40, right? Or at least 30, I would say. But we didn't. we got to fix some things, but we still won in a dominant fashion. So looking to the Big Ten, I mean, to start off, I mean, the preview of next week, and I'll talk about it. I'll break it down if you want to check that out on my YouTube. Rutgers versus Washington. You look at this game, it was a question mark because you kind of getting in these scenarios in the Big Ten where teams are, 3-1, 4-1, 4-0, 3-2, and you're like, okay, are they really a 3-1 team? Are they really a 4-0 team? Both these opponents, Washington was 3-1, and Rutgers was 3-0 going into this game. So you're like, okay, what type of team is this? And so you saw some things from Washington. I couldn't really tell on the defensive side if Washington was good. It seemed like they could get into whatever they wanted to, Rutgers, at least in the run game. And I like, in a quick preview, I like the way we match up against Rutgers. I think this quarterback really struggles throwing the ball. I don't think he's a true passer. I have a little joke. Anytime a quarterback carries out his fakes full speed on every single play, he's not a good quarterback because it's just like a swag principle, like some, I don't know. That's just my little take. But you have number 5. I'm gonna butcher his last name. I'm not even gonna do it.
Monangai.
Monangai. I mean, he's a talented back. He ran for 135 yards on 25 carries. On the receiving end, you kind of, they use their tight end a lot with these split zone actions and, running him in motion, throwing to him in the flat. He's a former defensive end, not really a big threat. You got Ian Strong in the receiving core. Not like there's nothing on the, Rutgers receiving wise. You're like, dang, I think we played Colorado, we played Illinois. Those teams had great receivers. Even last week against Purdue, I would say they're kind of similar. Even the tight end against Purdue, that would probably be one of the better tight ends we face. And Rutgers gets that done 21-18. Washington had a chance to tie it at the end. They just missed the field goal. SC, this USC Wisconsin game was so interesting. And I don't think a lot of people had an opportunity to watch it. But if you go back and watch it, Wisconsin was actually up at half 21-10 against USC. And Wisconsin ends up not scoring in the second half, and USC ends up scoring 28 points. And the final score ends up being 38-21. You kind of, USC kind of, for me, I kind of hit the panic button. I was like, oh boy, SC's done with, right? But I think this is what we're going to see. This is what we're going to see with USC moving forward, playing these Big Ten teams, getting into, SC doesn't have a easy schedule by no means. They play, let me pull it up real quick. They're playing some dogs coming up. I mean, you go and play at Minnesota, and we'll talk about it, the Minnesota-Michigan game. You play Penn State. We'll talk about the Penn State-Illinois game. You go play Maryland. You go play Rutgers. Go play Washington. You go play Nebraska, UCLA, and then you finish with the banger in Notre Dame. So we could see, and I think USC and Oregon are in similar boats, similar races where they didn't have a cakewalk by no means. USC just played Michigan, but we're about to see them play and get into this Big Ten play. And if you know anything about the Big Ten, a 2-3 Minnesota team is still a hard win, right? A Purdue team is still hard to get these wins, right? It's not like the Pac-12. You can coast by a bad U of A team or a bad Oregon State team or a bad Washington State team. You can't coast by any of these teams, right? You got Indiana breaks away late against Maryland. Indiana has a super high-powered offense, good receiving core. Quarterback's playing really, really well. I believe now he could be possibly leading the Big Ten in passing yards. They win 42-28 against Maryland. This Michigan-Minnesota game, and going into this game, I was talking with Mikey Daniels, the other gentleman that usually is on the show, but he's not here. I was talking about this Minnesota game is going to be close. And, some people are like, oh, bro, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, like this game is going to be close. Minnesota, this is a complete dogfight. Minnesota has opportunity. They go for an onside. They get it, but it gets called back. Michigan ends up winning 27-24. Michigan's quarterback, Alex Orji, has still yet to throw for over 100 yards. He threw for 80 yards this week and 50 and I believe 30 yards the last week against USC. Got 2 wins, right? Skated by both of them, right? So eventually we're going to see Michigan fall. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. They're not going to be able to run the football for 280, 300 yards a game, right? At some point they're going to fall. Whether that be Penn State, Ohio State, even a team like who's they have next, like a team like Michigan State, or a team like Rutgers, or a team like Maryland. They could drop to any of these teams. They just don't seem like the Michigan of old, and I would expect them to get exposed here soon. Ohio State, I would say they're the most dominant team in the Big Ten. It looks like they're the number 1 dogs, and it's not really close in my opinion. They blow out Michigan State, just a high-powered offense, 38-7 with a really good defense. Ohio State has a really good defense. Oregon blows out UCLA 34-13. And this one's interesting because you look at Oregon and you're like, okay, who have they played so far, right? You want to look at who they played. They played Idaho in a 24-14 win. Boise State, and if you watch this one, it's a great game, but it was super close. And part of it is because Boise State has the best running back in the nation, in Genty. They win that 37-34. Oregon State, 49-14, comfortable fashion right there. And then you got UCLA this week, 34-13. But here's the kicker. And the whole landscape of Oregon football could change dramatically in the next, 6 to 7 weeks. You go home versus Michigan State, right? That'll be a really big test for them, because I don't think this Michigan State team is bad. I think they're, an average team in the Big Ten. So it'll get to show, okay, where's Oregon at? A real, I would say, OG Big Ten team, because I still got to get used to UCLA being a Big Ten team. And then they go at Ohio State. They go home against Ohio State, at Purdue, home against Illinois, home at Michigan, home against Maryland, at Wisconsin, home against Washington. So they're going to see what Big Ten football is like. We're going to see what type of team Oregon is. I would expect 2 or 3 losses from there. I don't really see Oregon as like, I see their games, right? I just don't know if Oregon is the Oregon, like, is really a 4-0 team, is really a top 10 team. I don't know. I think we're going to see a dramatic change within the next few weeks in Oregon. But the Penn State Illinois game needs a lot of context, because if you look at it, it was 21-7, right? Penn State. But if you actually watch the game, they were they won, but Illinois had, a touchdown call back. They had an opportunity they missed a field goal. So it was really supposed to be like 10-7 at halftime, and Penn State breaks away late. Altmaier throws a pick. Penn State was a 19.5 favorite going into the game. Penn State ends up winning 21-7. Penn State looked good, but it looks like they need to add some type of offensive explosion. It kind of looks like a copy and paste from last year. They do a lot of things, but it just doesn't look like Penn State has the explosiveness that they need moving forward. But that's all I got for the Big Ten updates. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Tomorrow, Mikey Daniels will be in studio, and we'll be able to rap about Nebraska, Purdue, and I want to really get his take on the running backs.
All right, there you have it. Something to look forward to tomorrow on The Block, coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Hi, Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosson. Education is a cornerstone for strong, vibrant communities. I voted for the largest investment in education in Nebraska history. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and understand the valuable role of education in growing our community. This is Carolyn Bosson, and I will continue to support education in the legislature. Vote Carolyn Bosson on November 5th. Paid for by Bosson for Legislature.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus